why am I going back and reading my messages with Abhishek? Can't I just move on with my life? The answer is no. I can't move on with my life. The impact of my online affair with Abhishek Desikan have permanently destroyed my life. I ruined my life, and I ruined Zell's life because of my online affair with Abhishek Desikan. I am never going to get an apology from Abhishek. I am never going to get any kind of compensation from Abhishek. Zell is never going to get any kind of apology from Abhishek. And Zell is never going to get any kind of compensation from Abhishek. It is my responsibility, it is my duty to talk about these messages which had so much significance in Zell's life and so much significance in my life. I refuse to sweep this under the rug. I refuse to pretend like it didn't happen. I refuse to move on with my life and act like everything's normal when it's not. In 2020, I was 27 years old. Zell was 41 years old. We'd been in a relationship for 3 years, and it was a serious relationship, as serious as it gets. I was involved with his daughter's life. When Zell had custody of his daughter, I went with him to France to have custody of his daughter. I moved to China to be with Zell. He taught me how to be an English teacher. He taught me the basics of the Chinese language. I moved to Canada with Zell. In between that time, I got to see quite a lot of the world that I hadn't seen before. I got to go to Thailand with him. I got to go to Brussels, Belgium. Got to go to France. In those 3 years, Zell taught me so much. I learned about recording YouTube videos. I learned about YouTube generally. I learned about history. I learned about languages. I learned about religion. He spent a lot of time supporting me. He really cared about me. He really loved me. I damaged Zell a lot in the first 3 years that we were together. He did absolutely nothing to deserve the kind of treatment that I subjected him to. And it was my responsibility to do something to make it better. In 2020, Zell and I lived together in Victoria. I was not paying rent. I was not paying for utilities. I was not paying for the gym. I was not paying for groceries. I was taken care of by Zell. And I took that for granted. I started an online affair with Abhishek Desikan, a 30-year-old man. And I can see when I read the messages how poorly I was using my time and how I permitted him to take up so much of my time. That is on me. The time loss is on me. The loss of productivity, that's on me. It was my duty, my responsibility, to get my act together, to determine what I was going to do with my education, with my career, with my research interests, with YouTube. But it was my responsibility to be a good partner to Zell. That is the overarching responsibility in my life. And I failed. I failed to take responsibility. I was doing anything that I could to not take responsibility. And this affair with Abhishek, the messages with Abhishek, were an extremely welcome distraction. On the baser side of it, just the idea that some guy found me so sexually attractive, that he was so turned on, that he wanted to see me naked. Why did I find that flattering? Why didn't I just find that repulsive? Why didn't I find that disgusting? Especially because I wasn't sexually attracted to the man. But I could tell that was what he was interested in. He was really, it seemed to me, having this visceral response. Just to having messages with me, just to having pictures, like seeing my pictures on Facebook. He said he wanted to tell me how hot he thought I was. And he said that he's a photographer and that he wants me to model for him. And that appealed to my baser desires. And I have to be honest with myself. I have to be honest with the camera and saying that, yeah, I thought, maybe this is the guy that's really going to be crazy about my looks. Because I had it in my mind for so long that women who looked a certain way, women with large breasts, women with curvier proportions, would just by default have men falling over to go on dates with them, pay for them to go to dinner with them, pay for them to go to the movies with them. And I had not had that experience in my life. I had a man who really loved me, who really cared for me, and who was taking care of me financially. So it's ridiculous for me to say this. It's so stupid. It's a stupid, childish, base thing that resulted from just teenage years in which I saw a close friend of mine develop big breasts and how I saw boys look at her, as opposed to me, who was completely flat-chested, and boys treated me like I was their sister. I just was flattered, basically, even though I didn't find this man attractive. Just the fact that he was having this response, that he really wanted to talk to me more, and he really seemed to want to have as much conversation with me as possible. But I'm seeing it, more from his end, I'm analyzing what was he really getting at here. I wish he had just been honest with me at the start and saying, all I really want is a cam whore. I want an unpaid cam whore. I've been paying for cam whores all this time. I've been watching porn, and really I want to have this kind of girlfriend experience, right? I really wish that he would have just been honest with me in that way. And I wish I would have been able to be honest too and just say, look, dude, I can't have these long conversations with you. I can't have long text conversations, just endless text conversations that go nowhere. I am in an open relationship, a serious open relationship, as serious as it gets. I'm basically married without, having formally gotten married. But I am basically married to Zell. And, if you want to have sex with me, you have to first go on a date with me. You have to make the actual trip to go from Seattle to Victoria. Not an insurmountable task. I understand it was COVID and the borders were shut down, but still, you could have said, okay, well, borders are shut down. I'll talk to you when the borders are open. That would have saved me so much time and so much torment, so much misery. It would have saved him torment and saved him misery. It's just stupid. It's just so dumb. looking back, it's just, I, I, I got addicted to this. I got addicted to this sending of naked pictures and naked videos to this man and masturbating. He was masturbating looking at pictures of me. And that made me feel confident and sexy. It made me think, oh, wow, like somebody's actually looking at my pictures and jacking off, like the pretty girls in high school. I had seen how the guys fawned over the very attractive girls in high school, and the contrasting experience that I had, where basically guys treated me like a friend or a sister or something. And I just thought that would be so wonderful, right? That'd be so wonderful if I could just have a guy simping for me, fawning over me like that. And looking back on it, no, I don't want that today. I don't. It's not pleasant. It's scary. It's actually terrifying, And I drove myself crazy, knowing that there was this man who had naked pictures and naked videos of me. It's really not who I am. I'm not a carefree person. I'm not free love kind of person. I'm not. I never have been. It's terrifying for me. It was terrifying for me every time. And the first time it was, the first time that I got naked on camera for him, I barely knew him. We had never even met in person. It's just, I can't believe I was so irresponsible. I can't believe I was so evil. I was so desperate to break the rules of my relationship with Zell. I just didn't want to do the right thing. I wanted to be bad. I wanted to do the wrong thing. I wanted to be evil. And I was. Again and again and again. We had brief periods of time where we weren't talking, but then we'd start talking again, and it was even more intense that time. And the whole time I was lying to Zell about it. It's just, it is really sickening. It's really disturbing. And I'm ashamed. I was ashamed at the time, and I knew in Zell's eyes, I would be seen as despicable and disgusting for having done this. In part because of the importance of honesty, but also it is an injustice to him. It hurts him. He is taking care of me. He is supporting me. He's financially taking care of me. Emotionally taking care of me. He's there for me when I'm crying. He's there with me every day. And I'm sacrificing everything for this dude who's done nothing for me. What I said it in another video. The only thing he ever sent me of value was a Kindle Paperwhite, and it wasn't even the high end Kindle. It was like the cheapest Kindle. And a pair of pants. That's it. I never asked for money. How stupid was I? Of course, hundreds of thousands of men pay for that service. On OnlyFans, they give money, they give some kind of compensation to the woman for giving them masturbatory material, having some kind of text conversation with them, some sort of parasocial relationship with the sexy woman. And I was giving that away for free to some guy, some computer programmer, with nothing in common with me. I guess I thought it would be secret with him because, he had this agreement with his mother that he would eventually have an arranged marriage with an Indian woman, and he was living in America, and I'm certain he was interested in having sex with white women. He went on multiple Tinder dates with white women while I was having this online affair with him. I know he wanted to have sex with these women, but because he had made this agreement with his mother, he was also doing something wrong. And he was absolutely disrespecting Zell and disrespecting my relationship with Zell. I wanted to have children with Zell. I wanted to have a future with Zell. And I was heartbroken whenever, Zell and I would have any kind of conflict. I would be upset and I would be crying and I would go to Abhishek for comfort. It's just fucked up. It's just the worst. It's just the worst. You can, if you have an open relationship, that's not how it works. It's not that your primary partnership, you're a piece of shit in that relationship, and then you go to another person who is having sex with you or whatever the situation is and complain about that primary partnership to the secondary partner. No. Your primary partnership needs to be strong. Like, everything needs to be functioning properly. And then you can have some kind of secondary relationship, which is not going to be as meaningful. I mean, it's going to have some significance. It's going to be meaningful for both parties, of course. And I am not saying that I only wanted a one-night stand, but yeah, I could have just had a one-night stand with somebody. Anybody would have been better than Abhishek Desikan. Like, anything would have been better than this. It was secret for him, and it was secret for me. And we were both indulging in this stupid fantasy that we could be porn stars. We could take naked videos and, pictures of ourselves masturbating and make the other person come, when really nobody would pay to see porn of Abhishek Desikan, and nobody would pay to see porn of me. Neither of us were porn stars. But we wanted the kind of sexual gratification that came along with that. Like, oh yeah, we're just so hot for each other, when really I wasn't. And if he really had cared about me, if he had really, wanted a real relationship with me, he would have made the fucking ferry trip to Victoria from Seattle. He never did. I was such a fool to do this. And I just was evil in my relationship with Zell. I lied in my relationship with Abhishek too. I said things to build him up, to make him feel hot, when he wasn't. I wasn't attracted to him, but I said that he was hot. I lied. I lied to him because I wanted to make him feel better about himself, because I wanted him to continue this process of making me feel sexy, me feel hot. It's just, it goes on and on and on and on and on, and I'm going to have to read the rest of these messages where I am saying that I love the guy, that I want to have a baby with him, that I'm masturbating thinking of a life with him, when all of that is just my imagination filling in certain details. That I know I did not want to have a child with him, but I was so lost in the game. The game that I was playing, I was getting so wrapped up in that I convinced myself I was just lying to both people. I was lying to Zell, I was lying to Abhishek. I convinced myself that I did love Abhishek. I convinced myself that, yeah, I do want to have sex with him, when I didn't. I didn't want to. I drove myself insane. And I ruined my life. I destroyed every positive opportunity that I had. 2020, 2021, even 2022. Years I will never get back. Those are also years that Zell will never get back. Opportunities I will never get back because of my relationship with Abhishek Desikan.